Back once again for the renegade master. 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 Back once again for the renegade master.
Hello my renegades and welcome back. And what are we getting back into? We are in a Married at First Sight Australia series 11 I should say. Now we're on episode 30. Yay. And it's coming into the homestays. And before we get into this video, as I always ask, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button so you know I'm on and doing videos. Please share, comment, do whatever it is that you good people do, because as you know I am on the road to what? 1k. Anyway, so as I've already just shared, it's coming up to the homestays with people, so we get to see a select few of the couples going on their homestays, because there's not that many couples left now, because we saw the back of Richard and Andrea, and we saw the back of Cassandra and Tristan at the last commitment ceremony. So you see Tim talking about the couch session and how it was okay, and this is where I am saying again, Lucinda is setting this man up for someone else. I believe that he respects her fully, yes, but when it comes to the physicality and any other emotional stance, he is not going to do that for her in the slightest, because he is not connected to her like that. He starts to go in with the how it's all emotionally exhausting for him being opened up that much emotionally that he's not used to. He didn't believe that it was going to be this hard. I mean, I'll give it to him if he's not watched like Married at First Sight previously, but come on, this is a high pressured situation. You're getting married to somebody sight unseen. At the end of the day, you don't see them till the wedding day. You've married this person, you're doing it backwards. You go on your honeymoon and then you're living with this person 24 motherfucking 7. So if for a certain amount of weeks up until you go to a final commitment ceremony. So you know from the get-go, the premise of this show, it's going to be intense. The feelings and everything that you feel is going to be further multiplied to what we would normally do if we're going through the process of getting married to someone, because you wouldn't do it that quick unless you're like really into them in that sense. So for Tim, I think he's had more than enough time in order to get to a place that he needs to get to be safe, to open up to Lucinda. But for him to turn around and say that, you know what, him opening up at this point has been so emotionally exhausting for him. He's not at a point in his life that he's ready to have that type of relationship that a person like Lucinda is looking for. He's just not there. He isn't. So that's why I'm going to keep saying, how much is Lucinda going to keep trying with this man? Because he's literally going to keep opening up, expecting her to be there, and then freaking falling back onto this adoptive tin man without a heart, Monica, just to be an arsehole towards Lucinda. And that's how I'm seeing it. So Tim is basically saying that he does not have the capacity to go at this level, and he's completely drained. Again, why apply for this show? Why apply for this show? And he keeps doing this all the time to Lucinda, all the freaking time. So everybody and their dog at the end of the day was talking about Eden and Jaden and the situation that happened with them. And I'm like, because you don't know what goes on behind closed doors. You seriously don't know what goes on behind closed doors. And because Jaden got to a point where actually I need somebody else to know what's happening to be able to help me. Because at the end of the day, this girl has made a fucking fully emotionally charged ultimatum against him, and he didn't know which way to freaking go. Because my thing is, why share information that could be detrimental to your relationship as you knew it to be before, yeah, and then expect him not to open up and share that information with someone that he's quite close to? It don't make no sense to me. So you see Eden and Jaden, and they're not in a good place at all. It's very quiet in the apartment, and Eden says that she didn't want to make him upset, but it is how it is. And I'm like, my girl, come on. Like, seriously, come on. You can do better than that. It isn't how it is. At the end of the day, you made that situation, and now you don't want to talk about the situation that has been made. You don't want to open up and talk about how that's impacted on Jaden and his emotional well-being, but he's got to automatically see it from her point of view. At the end of the day, Eden's attitude and her behaviour has been piss poor towards Jaden, yeah, but she don't want to accept it right now. She really does not want to accept it right now. It's now been brought out into the open. Now it's been brought out in the open. She thinks that's it. You can put a pin in it and then move on. That's not how life works. It's not how life works at all. This is, as I said, this is not me sticking up for Jaden fully, but this is me voicing my opinion in respects of Eden and how she's dealt with this situation, because there's a lot of people that deal with high anxiety and highly stressful situations that it really does impact upon their emotional well-being, as it does with Eden. But there's ways in which to strategize and hopefully be able to combat it and be able to sit down and actually talk within a safe space and listen to what it is that your partner has to say. She has to be in that mindset. If she's not in that mindset, understood, give her that time and space to get to where she needs to be, and then have that discussion with Eden. At the end of the day, what Eden has to remember is, just because she's had that time and space to be able to compartmentalize where she needs to be and move on from the situation, doesn't mean that her partner has moved on from that situation, and she may have to come back and dissect it and have those discussions, and she needs to be in that mind frame for it. So that's why she needs that space and time away to be able to be in that mind frame to have that discussion with him, because she can't just leave him to it and that's it. Do you know what I mean? All I'm going to say is, at this point of the home stays, I was kind of questioning, it did get answered for me later on, though it did get answered for me later on, is, will Tori actually meet Jack's actual friends and family in home stays week and not his clients? So as the time goes on, Eden basically has gone missing. Nobody knows where they have disappeared to. She's took some time and space for herself, but hasn't necessarily told anyone where she's gone to. So Jaden is literally trying to scramble and call her, because they literally don't have long to catch the plane to go to where it is that they're going to. Me, if I had to turn up at someone's home and sit outside the way Jaden did with his suitcase and wait for my partner to arrive by myself, that I wouldn't have gone at all. That would be too embarrassing for me. Like, honestly, too embarrassing for me. I know we got to sort shit out, but you ain't letting me get this plane on my own. Bearing in mind, you have not even answered your phone. You've fucked off. Yeah. It was the same thing with Ben, and I think it's the same thing with some of the others when they do it. They fuck off. People are calling you. They're calling you for a fucking reason, yeah. They're calling you for a reason. Answer your goddamn phone. Not only is it just to check on where you are and if you're coming back, but also to check on your fucking welfare, do you know what I mean? To make sure that nothing's happened to you, but yet you don't answer your phone. And especially in the case with Eden and Jaden, he was calling her because they literally had to go catch a plane, and she knew this, and she didn't answer the phone. So yeah, so they got 10 minutes to take off. Eden's fully dipped. She didn't turn up at the airport, so Jaden had to literally piss off by himself at that point and sit, as I said, sat outside her place waiting for her to turn up. She turns up in a fucking taxi. Yeah, she turns up in a taxi, pulls up, gets out of the fucking taxi. He helps her out. She doesn't greet him in any way, shape or form, really. Gets her stuff and then goes in. I'm like, is that it? Because you know you're going to have to talk. You're going to have to talk about the situation that's going on right now. But as we go on, Jono has flew out to see Lauren at her home. And Lauren's planned a lot for her and Jono to do. And as they've both said, the distance has made the heart grow a little bit fonder. And Lauren is looking to have sex with Jono within the home stays. But this is what I mean. All of this is going on, but yet I know that he was texting Ellie at the same time. All of this was going on, but yet he's still having this relationship with his wife, and he's still continuing to have a sexual relationship with his wife at the same time he's texting another woman. But that's not come out yet. I haven't got to that episode yet because I know it's coming, but that has not come out yet. So then we go to Lucinda and Tim, and Lucinda goes to Tim's apartment. All I can say is, my God, don't you fucking tidy your shit up before you leave. It was a mess. It was a mess. And then sometimes I kind of have to think as well, he's got 2 dogs. Was someone coming in to clean up after his dog? Because I think since they've been there, the dog had pissed on the fucking carpet quite a few times. And shit, outside on the balcony and that. So it wasn't really trained. The other one was, but the one wasn't. And I'm like, and I know having 2 dogs in the house that you can get pet smells. You can get pet smells, but you can get certain things that get rid of pet smells. So that shit must have stunk. His whole place was, yeah, it wasn't nice. It really wasn't nice. Lucinda was in her element, to be fair, even though she said she really didn't want a man with a messy place. She didn't want to be picking up a shit. She didn't want to see this. She didn't want to see X, Y, Z. That's exactly what Tim Place was. She was still in her element. She was still happy. I think she was just happy to be there with Tim, to be in Tim's space, to be honest with you. So then we kind of go back to like Jaden and Eden, and I've already expressed, like, she pulled up in a taxi. Jaden's talking about how they do have some things to discuss, which was brought up on the couch, and it does need to be picked apart. It really does. Eden doesn't really want to talk about anything. Basically, she doesn't want to listen to any of that now. She thinks they've moved past that, when in actuality they have not. And I'm kind of like, if you don't talk about the past incidents which caused the present issues, then you ain't going to be working through anything, to be fair. But I do believe that they did need to talk. Eden is happy being back home to where she is because it's who she is, and she thinks that they have aired out their annoyances. They don't really need to talk anymore. Jaden agrees in retrospect, but then wants to talk about his feelings, and again you see Eden shut him down by saying that she's sorry, but she doesn't know what else to say. But it is what it is. That's unfair of her to do. She should have stood and listened to what it is that Jaden needed to say. Yes, it might have made her feel uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, the same way that Eden needs to feel a safe space in order to bring up issues, Jaden needs to feel a safe space in order to bring up issues and be heard too. So that was unfair of her. Eden basically sees it as them rehashing the situation, but I don't think that's it at all. At the end of the day, what was discussed on that couch between them two was hella emotive, especially coming to the point where you've got your husband thinking he's not paired with the person that he sees is his person right now because of the situation that's happened. That needs to be talked about. That needs to be talked about for them to get back on an even keel. She can't just ignore that, because the more she ignores it, the more of an issue it's going to be, to the point where Jaden is literally going to pull away and pull off from her, to be honest with her. But she's not seeing it like that at all. So Lauren take Jono to go meet her best friend Mackenzie, who she's known for 15 years. Like, the way Mackenzie is speaking and the way Lauren is speaking is if this girl did not like Jono, then that would be it in regards to the relationship. I already thought that she would go in there, she doesn't have high expectations of Jono at all at this moment in time, and I thought, right, it doesn't bode well for Jono, because it seems as though Lauren had already been sharing a lot of stuff with her friend. So basically Lauren has told her about the wedding and how it came crashing down, and again with their energy not matching, Mackenzie is eyeballing Jono as she sits there. So they have this conversation and this, that and the other, and it boils out that actually Mackenzie does like him. Mackenzie does like him and feels that he's the calm in the storm for Lauren, because there's times where Lauren, when she's on her highest with her, even her friend Mackenzie, where she's a lot of hard work and she's quite honest with Lauren in that sense. So Lauren does share that with Jono, and Jono's quite happy. They do have sex. When they went back to the house, they did get it on the next morning, and they were getting on pretty well with each other. And I'm like, okay. So then we get back to Lucinda and Tim, and you see Tim and Lucinda are with Tim's friends again. And I do think Lucinda fits in with his world completely, but I don't think Tim sees that at all. Tim wants a break, and basically he was talking to his friends about how emotionally drained he is and that he's not really built for all of this, but his friends were actually quite happy that he got to a space where he was quite open and quite emotional, because he needed that as well. Tim then goes off. Lucinda is left with one of Tim's friends, and Lucinda asks what Tim is like when he's in a relationship, and Tim's friend says that Tim is the type of person where he likes to take care of that person he's with. He likes to do X, Y and Z. He likes to be the protector and everything for that person that he's with. he's not done that for Lucinda. So that tells you quite a lot. It's Lucinda who's actually taken that role on for Tim, in terms of being his protector, in terms of taking care of him and making sure he's okay. But he's not done that for Lucinda in the slightest, because he doesn't want to, because he really doesn't want to. And I don't think Tim actually sees Lucinda as a person that he needs to protect and take care of, because he believes that she's at a stage where she can do that by herself. And that's probably why Tim does pick women that are quite in the probably late 20s to early 30s stage, because he feels that they are the ones that need that overly fatherly protection type thing. You know what I mean. Whereas Lucinda, not necessarily so, because he sees her very already fixed and quite strong in the terms of the person that she is. But again, Lucinda is not the one for Tim. She really isn't the one for Tim. She's a beautiful woman, and Tim does not see that in her. And if Tim really were open to Lucinda, he probably would be that person for her, but he's not going to be at the end of the day. So he turns to Eden and Jaden, and they go to Jaden's parents' home for a barbecue lunch. So Eden's father has also come along, and we see the reappearance of like Jaden's brother Mitch as well. So when they're sitting there and they're explaining the situations that probably occurred within their relationship, you could see that Eden is literally glossing over. She does not want anybody to know of the negativity that's happened within their relationship right now, because she wants to make sure that she makes a good impression upon Jaden's family. But I think Mitch is literally seeing that there's something more going on, and he can see through the shit that's going on right now, and knows that something ain't quite right with his brother, which is then shown when they have a conversation with each other away from the family, and Jaden does go into the situation that happened that's impacted upon their relationship. And again, Mitch does give him some sage advice in which to, like, you know, have that conversation. But the only thing I would disagree on with Mitch is when he turned around and he said to Jaden that he doesn't want to be controlled by a woman. At the end of the day, that comes off a little bit misogynistic to me. That's all I'm going to say. It comes off a little bit misogynistic to me, because at the end of the day, Eden's not looking to control Jaden. Yeah. What she's doing, which isn't any good either, is kind of emotionally manipulating him in terms of the ultimatum that she gave to him. In that sense, that was abhorrent, to be fair. She shouldn't have done that. So there are things that they both do need to talk about. So you see Lauren and Jono getting on really well the next day. Lauren is actually realising that she does like Jono, and that they're getting on now, and the homestays has been good for them, and they both echo that sentiment. And he turns around and he said that he can see what a future looks like with Lauren, and all I'm going to say on that is but we shall move on. So here we go with Tim stepping back from Lucinda again, and Lucinda now having to be wary on how she interacts with Tim. So the producers do talk to Tim, and Tim is basically saying that, you know, with homestays it's meant to be fun, it's meant to be this, but all I'm saying is homestays is only as fun as you make it at the end of the day. So he's again needing space, so he's hinting, I think, at that point that Lucinda needs to leave, because he's not used to someone being in his space like the way Lucinda is in his home. I think if it was someone that he was really getting on with, then he wouldn't mind them being in his space and in his home. But it's Lucinda at the end of the day, and I think he's blaming her for him being emotionally open too much in this scenario, which is unfair to Lucinda. So he's making her feel very unwelcome in his home. So Tim decides that he needs to go out, he needs to get space, and Lucinda gives him that grace to do so. So you come to late at night, bearing in mind this is not her home, this is a new place for her. He's fucked off out. She's calling him to say, well, where are you? Are you coming back? My guy is out with a friend. Now, if you need space, then why are you out with a friend? Why have you met up with a friend to go have this space with? So he doesn't come back till like early hours of the fucking morning. So which is basically making Lucinda feel like this man does not want me there, which I would feel the same way, to be fair. I would honestly feel the same way. So it's very icy between them the next day. So Lucinda decides that she's going to organise a private picnic, which she does, so she can have this chat with Tim just to find out where he's gone. She's sitting there and she's telling him how she feels and that she's not felt welcomed by him at all. He starts getting irate at her, and I'm like, Lucinda, this is the time where you got to say goodbye to this man, because he ain't the one for you. He is not the one for you. So Lucinda's there speaking about her feelings around that night, and how she was not his thought or consideration. Lucinda's never been his thought or consideration throughout this. Like, yes, he respects her, but right now he's disrespecting her royally, like fully disrespecting her. He doesn't want the emotionalness with Lucinda in the slightest. I mean, this whole experience and experiment is tough for everybody that comes into it, so he's not the only one feeling this type of pressure. So you see Tim could become very defensive and disrespectful towards Lucinda. He's not into this emotional journey, and he just wants, to me, he just wants a surface level relationship or marriage, to be fair. He doesn't want to be having to do this whole bit of delving deeper and into terms of what this show makes you do. Again, I'm surprised he has not watched this show to understand its concept, but hey ho, there we are. So basically, all I'm going to say is Tim pissed me off this episode, because he then got up, walked off. Lucinda tried to then speak to him, and he then shouts at her. He shouts at her, I just want to be on my own. I'm just like, who the fuck are you to talk to someone like that when you know what? Lucinda hasn't done anything wrong. It's you. So he has the cheek to turn around to say that he wants to catch an Uber home and leaves Lucinda behind. So she stayed there, continuing to tidy up. And basically, even though Lucinda feels bad for him and how lonely he is, she says she's come to the realization that she deserves better than this, and she does. So I'm hoping when it comes to the next Confessions of the Couch, because it will be the dinner party and everything first, when it comes to the very last Confessions of the Couch, that she decides that she's going to leave at that point, because there's no changing this man. There is no changing this man in that sense. There is no making him see that he could have something good with Lucinda, because he's an absolute arsehole. He was an arsehole to her in this episode, and that's where I'm putting it. But that is where that episode ended, my renegades. As I always say, please hit that subscribe button, please hit that notification button, so you know I'm on to do videos, and I'll be back across your screens very, very soon. Peace out.